Hi everyone, I am Dr. Jasmine Porwal, consultant medical oncologist at FMRI Gurgaon.
Good evening, doctor. So, my first question to you is what challenges do you face in diagnosing tumor of unknown origin, and how does this sequencing helps in that?
So basically, definitely carcinoma of unknown primary or metastasis of unknown primary is definitely a diagnostic dilemma for us, and we first rely on the morphology. We want to know what subtype it is. If we can get to that, whether it's an adenocarcinoma, squamous cell carcinoma, neuroendocrine, or undifferentiated, and then we try to use certain IHC markers. Then we rely on the clinical history, the imaging, and tumor markers also. And then based on that, slowly and slowly, जैसे एक detective होता है with one clue, another clue, we try to figure out what the tumor where the origin can be from. So secondly, the precision medicine, the NGS and all, they have been very useful in cases of carcinoma of unknown primary, especially because most of the time these cases have very poor prognosis. And earlier, before the onset and before the origin of targeted therapy and immunotherapy, we would give a timeline of about 6 months to these cases. But now with precision medicine and with better platforms of NGS, we're able to extend that lifespan and provide the option of targeted therapy and immunotherapy for these patients. So definitely precision medicine has really been a boon for patients of unknown primary cases.
My next question to you is how does doing tumor normal match for every sample improves the precision of your cancer diagnosis?
So, not lot of platforms or companies are addressing the normal person genomic criteria, actually, the germline mutation part. And I think one of the things that germline mutations and somatic mutations, when they're detected together, the false positivity rate can come down. And there are a lot of other tests. I don't want to get too technical about the test, but there are a lot of other tests. The sensitivity of the test improves if we're able to do the germline testing also or not. And if we're using a control sample with it, that we're able to compare it with a normal genomic sample also. So definitely that improves the sensitivity, and most importantly, the false positive rate comes down. So our chance of giving wrongly a targeted therapy or immunotherapy, that can come down a lot with a good precision platform.
In your experience, how does RNA sequencing has enhanced the understanding of cancer for your patient?
So RNA sequencing is very important because we have realized over time, and of course theoretically also, RNA sequencing has always been a difficult, it's been a challenge diagnostically also to pick up. So DNA sequencing, DNA transcripts can be picked up by the NGS platform, the various platforms that are being used for sequencing. But RNA sequencing is definitely a one caveat or one area of research which a lot of platforms are going into now currently, but we do not have that much of a quality control on that. So over time, we've realized that about 20 to 30% of the cases get missed of targeted therapy or immunotherapy if RNA sequencing is not included in the samples. So that way, RNA sequencing is very important, and if possible, we should go for that kind of a platform that RNA sequencing is inbuilt in their diagnostic chain sample.
So, doctor, so my next question is, how does Tempus Claudin 18 testing influenced your approach to identifying and treating patients with GI cancers?
So currently, Claudin 18.2, which is the targeted agent for that, is the zolbetuximab. It has definitely revolutionized the treatment of GI cancers, metastatic GI cancers who neither have PD-L1 as positive or HER2 as positive. So in those patients, currently Claudin 18.2 is recommended as testing, and we have advised it to a couple of our patients, and one of our patients is also receiving Claudin 18.2 targeted therapy. So, and has at least currently is showing benefit to the same. So it has influenced our testing, first thing. Second thing is, a lot of patients themselves are asking for that testing. So it is not that it is coming from our side also, it is the patient themselves are doing their reading up and coming to us. So definitely it is currently being done in real world practice also.
My next question is, how has Tempus liquid biopsy, which gives with ctDNA and chip and percentage tumor fraction, enhance your ability to detect, monitor and personalize the cancer treatment?
So liquid biopsy traditionally and till now, I think we've been using in 2-3 scenarios. One of them is tumors with cancers with high tumor burden, and secondly, the patient is not willing or for a solid biopsy for invasive procedure, and thirdly, patient is too frail to go for an invasive procedure also. And finally, it is more like a shortcut to avoid a solid biopsy, invasive biopsy. So definitely liquid biopsy is currently there to stay. We are advising it to a lot of patients and we are getting very good results. I mean, it is very heartening to see that patients who do have stage 4 cancers and we do not have to go for invasive procedure, we advise just a small prick test, a blood sample, and we do get targetable mutations on the blood sample, on the liquid biopsy itself. So it is a very good option, and definitely many clinicians are exploring it currently. So it is definitely there to stay.